Man tired, man sissy. You have to know who you are. Die bist doch a heilig Elika. You're so holy, you're so deep. Your mama's more like a douche. So don't forget, wherever you go, you're zusammen mit der bestimmt.
Chaver Bezrat Hashem, L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh, L'Kavod Purim, 34 days until Purim, and this is the third day of Shammai, setting aside meat, L'Kavod Shabbos, so Tefillah B'Shem Kol Yisrael. For Pesach, Reuve Ben Yosef Asar Baruch Bas Yehudis, Yonah Bas Bas Shir Bas Bas Saner Reuve Mani, Tova Bas Perel, Shaul Ben Chanaleah, Rivka Bat Razel, and Svi Ben Chana, and Eloi Nishma Yudi Baruch Bas Nechemia, Meir Neshama Ben Aliyah. May be your will, Hashem our God and God of our fathers, to lovingly help us attain great joy, true joy in serving you as it is written, serve Hashem with happiness and rejoice with trembling. Bring us to fulfill all the mitzvahs with the happiness and joy that comes from the mitzvah itself. While engaged in each mitzvah, let us rejoice over the fact that you have lovingly given us the privilege of performing this mitzvah. Let all of our joy be from the mitzvah alone and not from the thought of the reward we will receive in the world to come. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Tefillah B'Shem Kol Yisrael. Halacha l'maisa. Halacha l'maisa. We have two more halacha in this siman, and I think we're going to return and do it again. Bezrat Hashem L'Kavod Purim. So here we go. In the morning, we arise early to attend the synagogue. After Shemona Esrei, the half Kaddish is recited, and we read from the Torah the passage beginning, Vayavo Amalek. And Amalek approached, calling 3 people up to the Torah for the Aliyos. After that, half Kaddish is recited again. After returning the Sefer Torah to the Ark, we read the Megillah. After the blessing, after the Megillah, Harav Es Rivenu, who takes up our grievance, the passage of Asher Hini is recited at night, is not recited in the morning. Rather, after finishing the Harav Es Rivenu, blessing after the Megillah with the words Hakel Hamoshiyah. We recite Shoshanas Yaakov. We then recite Ashrei Uvalatzion Kaddish, the full Kaddish with Tikabel. And one should not remove his tefillin until after the Megillah reading. Furthermore, we see, because it is stated therein, the Vikar, and the sages in Megillah 16b expound this refers to tefillin. If there is a circumcision on Purim, the circumcision is performed before the Megillah's reading, because it is stated, Visason, Sausin, Visason. Enjoy what the sages expound. This refers to circumcision. So the circumcision is performed before the Megillah reading. Wow, complicated. I have to go through that again. Bezrat Hashem. Chapter 3, Mishnah 9. And we know it's a full Kaddish. There we go. Rav Chanina ben Dosa. We've been doing the biographical, and I came and say the word, and someone will have to correct me. It's like the Zoom meeting. So we have the Zoom bits a couple of years back, but now we have the bits that I came and say a biographical. Oh, there we go. Biographical sketch of the Tzaddikim themselves who are saying these Mishnah, because they're mamash Tzaddikim Nisod Olam, right? So Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, let's just give a brief summary from the ArtScroll of who he was. He was a first generation Tana. So last night we had the fifth generation Tana. The night before we had the third generation Tana, right? So he was a student and a colleague of Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rav Chanina lived during the end of the Second Temple era. His power of prayer was renowned, and many asked him to intercede on their behalf. When Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai's son took ill, he asked Rav Chanina ben Dosa to pray on his behalf, placing his head on his lap, right, which shows a sign of submission. Rav Chanina prayed and the son was saved. Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai's wife asked him why his own supplications were not effective, and he replied, I am like an officer who visits with the king infrequently, while Rav Chanina ben Dosa is like a servant who is constantly in the presence of the king and can therefore make requests and be answered. And this is stated in Masechah Brachot 34b. So however, there's way more to speak about the tzaddik, but anyways, this is the one who's saying this Mishnah. Anyone whose fear of sin takes precedence over his wisdom endures. Right? So fear before wisdom, his wisdom endures. But anyone whose wisdom takes precedence over his fear of sin, his wisdom does not endure. He used to say, anyone whose deeds exceed his wisdom endures. But anyone whose wisdom exceeds his deeds, his wisdom does not endure. Right? So we see someone who has the fear of heaven in Brachot Daf Vav Amud Bet, his voice is heard. Whoever has the fear of heaven, his words are heard. Right? So only when we have the fear, the words and wisdom can actually manifest and actually can make a difference. Right? So we see here, Rav Nachman says the ultimate mystical perception is reached only through faith in the fulfillment of mitzvot by serving God according to the Torah with simplicity and wholeheartedness. In this way, a person will merit to attain whatever he will merit to attain. It is written, the beginning of wisdom is fear of God. First, one must fear God, then one will attain wisdom. So we see here, it's a big line. In this way, a person will merit to attain whatever he will merit to attain. So someone went to Rav Nassan. Rav Nassan was near the end of his life, and they asked him, what are you thinking about? What are these thoughts that are going through your head right now? When your last thoughts, one of your last moments in this world. And Rav Nassan said like this, Palapline, right? And we said like this, do you think I'm worried that I did not pray as well as I could? That I did not study as much as I could? I did not do enough to spread the Rebbe's teachings? No! I did what I could. However, I do not know if I fulfilled the simplicity of the Rebbe. Right? So we have to do this with simplicity. And if we're going to look at simplicity, where do we have to go, Donala? We have to go to Rabbi Nachman Essentials. Right back from the roots, right back from the simplicities, from the simplistic of the simplistic. Rabbi Nachman says like this in Sichot Aran 103, that it is better to be a fool who believes in everything than to be so clever that you do not believe in anything. Right? When the intellect becomes so high, right, and we're like, we are so clever, we're so sophisticated, we're so complex, right? The skepticism, right, and the sophistication will actually lead to a person denying the truth. That's why we have to be like that fool who believes in everything, right? The faith comes before the wisdom. Bezrat Hashem, and just something about fear. We see a quote, a book that my mom got me, and it's just great to take the Hasidic quotes from here. Hasidic wisdom. Rav Aaron of Karlin says, "Awe without love is imperfect. Love without awe is worthless." Right? We need the awe, and we need the love. And the debate is: do we start with awe? Do we start with love? That's the debate. That's the question we have to ask ourselves. B'ezrat Hashem, we should develop this awe of God in the best and most healthiest way possible. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should believe, and then we'll start to see. Questions, comments, please feel free. B'ezrat Hashem, Chavra, we should all be healthy, happy, and successful. Fired up, L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh, 34 days until Purim. These are the times we have to renew ourselves.